Everyone wants to move fast, move ahead of others. The rat race is very much on. Kids are not kids anymore. They're expected to be superhumans. The digital immersion is facilitating all of this. Kids are hooked to media, to social media. On the show this week, we're telling you why and how Australia has decided to ban access to social media for kids under 16. Also on the show, world over, there is the emergence of a school of thought that believes that social media and media is not important, at least not in the initial stages of the lives of kids. They believe in doing things differently, in taking things slow and steady. They believe that going back to good old days of simple living, doing things in a simple way, connect with nature, away from media, social media including, is the best way forward. We're telling you all about alternative systems of education, which lays a lot of stress on why media access in the early years is extremely bad. I'm Sneha Mordani. This is Health 360.
My government's world first decision to legislate 16 as the minimum age to use social media.
Everything happens at three levels: the head, the heart and the hands.
When you talk about alternate school, there is no pressure of education.
We give room and space for every child to develop or unfold in his or her own time.
Our top story is about a new buzzword, alternative education. So on one hand, while you see a bunch of education systems and parents fast moving towards competitiveness, they want their 5-year-olds to get into coding. On the other hand, there is the rise of a form of education that believes in holistic systems, holistic education, education for the body, mind and soul, doing things slow, doing things differently from the traditional school system. Competition is the last thing on their mind. Take a look at this report.
World over, the debate is raging on slowing down, on letting children be children, on not giving media to children. Questions are being raised on just why coding is necessary for kids as young as 5. People are increasingly asking themselves this question. Why should our children be Einsteins? Why should they know it all? Let's protect them from digital immersion. Let's not make them machines being churned out in traditional school systems. Let's protect them from this trap that everyone seems to be falling into. Perhaps a necessary evil. Or is it just that? An addiction? The debate is a heated one. In a first, Australia has banned social media access to kids below the age of 16. Social media that many believe is preventing children from being children. But world over, parents and educationists have been working to deal with the perils of media access for a very long time.
Know and how the continent
Along with a focus on educating the mind as well as the soul. And that's why alternative education assumes just so much importance in this day and age.
Alternative education nowadays is becoming a new phenomenon, which is also the need of the hour.
because now the kind of complexities we see all around, the environmental pollution in which we all are living. So all these are creating a stress upon the human beings and especially our children. So this alternative education is like a cool breeze in this moment of crisis and stress all around. So at every developmental stage, the curriculum brings something very close to their being.
I thought to myself, when I was 4 years old or 5 years old, was there really any fun part? Was there really any free play? Was there really a thought in my mind that, you know what, I have nothing to do today and doing nothing is the best part as far as a child is concerned? I somehow was not looking for something like that. And so we chose an alternate education, alternate schooling.
Empathy, self-learning, or the experiential part of that entire learning process was not there. As a result of which, a rhythm happened for my kids.
Alternative lifestyles, alternative education. More and more people are crying for a better system which works for their child rather than a system that just wants to pump out little factory workers. The school in Delhi's suburb, Noida, shows how. It's a school offering alternative education. It offers Waldorf education.
How the education enable for each child to slowly, in their own unique way, unfold. Right? It's not a very hurried approach, and how things are brought to children in a very age-appropriate manner.
Today, there are more than 1,200 Waldorf schools and an additional of 1,200 early childhood centers across 6 continents. India too is seeing a growing interest in alternative education, even though it may be seen as a risky, perhaps even a bold choice.
There's a clear understanding of child development and where child is in different phases of life, and the curriculum is based according to that. So even how the teacher approaches a child will be different. A Waldorf education emphasizes on the holistic development of an individual. You're teaching the thinking life of a child, you're educating the feeling life of a child, and you're also educating them to now transform this thinking and feeling into actions.
So what is Waldorf education all about? Waldorf education stresses on the need to let children even get bored. And just why is that?
I think it also helped us somewhere down the line to keep our son away from social media, because either he was just climbing trees or playing in mitti, or he was just left free. And you'll be surprised. You can try this with your child, or if you have kids around you. When they tend to get bored, all you have to do is just tell them getting bored is a very, very good thing. And trust me, they will come up with something or the other of their own. वो अपना game ही बना लेते हैं.
Going back to school, today is handwork and artwork day.
They are working with their hands, they are working with the fine motor skills, they are working with the rich and vibrant colors altogether, and indirectly they are also working on the dexterity. This anyways is going to help them with writing, reading. There's a special kind of painting that we do in Waldorf schools, is wet on wet painting. The paper is wet and the colors that we use on the paper are also wet. So children can explore their creativity.
In Tamil Nadu, another school is imparting holistic education. very different from the conventional schooling method.
In a school like ours, we believe that children learn with their whole bodies. Whatever you may be learning numbers, and yet rhythm and movement support your learning of numeracy. You put the child at the heart of the narrative. We believe that there is something called differentiated learning, and that we believe that we give room and space for every child to develop or unfold in his or her own time. I think these are some of the main characteristics that set apart an alternate school from one that's mainstream.
Yet another important aspect of Waldorf education is the nature connection, which also is about showing children the natural rhythms of life and revealing our kinship with all living things. It's about careful observation to see what the natural world has to teach. This consciousness is also getting parents world over to turn to forest schools or programs meant for introducing nature to children.
Anybody know what is forest bathing? This is called basil. In English. Yeah, in English. This also has lot of medicinal values. Yeah. So the right one on the left, and take a look. Left on the right, and take a look. Like this? Yes.
Our programs are always held in a very natural environment, mostly in forest. Now these programs are basically designed to develop the life skills in a child. The social skills, the emotional skills, leadership skills, ability to think laterally, to come out of the box solutions. So these are the kind of things we focus on. These are all very intangibles. And the only way to do it, to connect the child to his primal instincts. That is why we go back to the survival skills, which are primitive skills for your basic needs of human life: fire, food, water, shelter. That is why I feel there is a growing need for these schools to be established to bridge that gap for the holistic development of the child.
So how are kids in alternative schools different from those in regular schools? What sets them apart?
Good. We don't have like workbooks or textbooks, especially in the earlier grades. They create a book of their own. So each child by end of the year has a compilation of their own work that they are building up.
And how can a school like this be acceptable to the mainstream?
For Waldorf education, it might take some time, to get to the masses. But wherever it is right now, it has served so many children.
Over time and how the continental drift happened.
A school so good, it feels like home.
Over time and how the continental drift happened.
Or a school at home itself. That is what many parents are choosing. Priya is one of them. Some parents have taken it as far as pulling their children even out of schools and homeschooling them. In Delhi, we met Priya, who homeschools her child. Why does she choose homeschooling?
Formal schools have especially now, veered towards a fear-based environment when it comes to learning. And learning in its truest form happens when the mind is free and finds a nurturing space and a loving space, and that reinforcement of wonder nurturing that wonder that is very natural in especially young children. That's one thing that's like diminishing a lot in formal schooling, because it's it's so goal oriented and so about like the targets that you've set for the year and where that should go.
It is currently, and I have not finished.
Homeschooling, alternative education. Forest schools. Focus on keeping children away from the digital world.
Because so that we'll blend in with the nature.
Giving them a real world experience seems to be the buzzword now. It's indicative of a sense of consciousness that it perhaps is the time to do things differently. It's indicative of a sense of consciousness that this perhaps is the time to do things differently, given the unknown challenges and problems that modern lifestyles and technology are bringing with it.
Our next report gives you an idea about just why social media is the big villain in our lives. You could be thinking it could perhaps just be causing some amount of disturbance vis-a-vis your attention spans. But it's not just that. Delve deep and you'll know why social media addiction is just so dangerous. The negative impact of social media is frequently discussed due to several reasons, all of which are related to how pervasive and influential social media has become in modern society. Increased anxiety, depression. You don't even need research anymore. Just keep your phone away for 10 minutes and put your hand on your heart and tell yourself how you feel. Ask yourself that question. The answer would be that you do have a sense of FOMO and also a sense of anxiety. It's actually no secret that social media is making us anxious, nervous, and depressed. Fear of missing out. It's addictive in nature and also time wasting. Well, it's not you. It's not like you are getting addicted because there's something wrong with you. Social media platforms are designed to be addictive, using algorithms that promote endless scrolling. This can lead to a significant amount of time spent on these platforms, often at the expense of real-life interactions, productivity, and even physical health due to poor posture or lack of sleep. A spread of misinformation and fake news is a problem. Social media is a platform for rapid spread of information, wrong information, and fake news, which can lead to societal harm, confusion, and polarization. This is particularly dangerous in the context of public health, politics, and social issues. Also, as expected, the younger lot are more vulnerable. Polarization and echo chambers. Well, that happens so much. You get drowned in the noise there. The algorithms used by social media platforms often show users content that aligns with their existing beliefs, leading to echo chambers, where people are exposed only to viewpoints they agree with. This deepens political and ideological divides and can create more extreme views. Privacy issues and data security. Social media companies collect vast amounts of personal data, leading to concerns about user privacy, data breaches, and the misuse of personal information. This has sparked discussions about how social media impacts users' privacy and autonomy. Body image issues. The platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat that focus heavily on images and videos have been criticized for promoting unrealistic beauty standards. This can lead to body dissatisfaction, particularly among younger users who may compare themselves to influencers or celebrities. Impact on relationship and social media. Well, enough and more has been said. You'd be feeling it at your own home as well, that there is a sense of disconnect with your own people, with actual humans. A relationship that you're building is with your gadget, and that is deeply problematic. Australia's ban on social media for kids under the age of 16 has become the big talking point world over. How does one go about keeping kids away from social media? Is this a good initiative? Will it protect the vulnerable? Or could it become a well-meaning experiment with unintended consequences? Here's more. become the first country in the world to pass a landmark legislation to ban social media for kids under the age of 16. Well, if you are in India and a 16-year-old or below, you think, what the hell? What if this happens in India? That if you are addicted to social media, if you're a parent and you're worried about your children and their well-being, you think, oh, we wish this happens in India too. Well, definitely, the sweeping legislation has started a whole conversation about social media and the impact of social media on kids, especially the ones below 16 years of age.
Today I can announce that National Cabinet has endorsed my government's world-first decision to legislate 16 as the minimum age to use social media.
This move comes in the growing criticism against social media that they are designing their algorithms in such a way to addict young users. Overall, to addict users, there's cyberbullying, is inappropriate content that kids have access to, and this has become a growing problem. And this exactly is what led to the Australian government deciding on a complete ban for social media. Kids under the age of 16, asking social media giants to comply. It's expected that by 2025, this rule is going to be implemented in letter and spirit in Australia.
Excessive usage of social media can have its own negative effect in varied ways on any child. Now, given the pervasive nature and easy access to smartphones, to social media, and the fact that we end up using it for various purposes, having ban as the only option cannot be the solution by its own self. We must recognize the importance of inculcating media literacy skills from a very young age in an age-appropriate way, coming in both from the parents and from the schools as a part of a child's growing up years.
Social media giants like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all of them have to comply with this particular ban, ensuring that children do not try to log in by using false name, a false verification, and that kids under the age of 16 are unable to log in to many of these social media platforms. Now, many people say that this is unfair. What about the rights of the kids to have access to information? What about their digital rights, which is so important at the end of the day, is what they are extremely concerned about, and hence these questions on whether a ban will work. Can a ban even be implemented? Whether the parents should not be doing more, and whether a legislation, a sweeping one of this kind, was necessary. Will this push children to dark web? Will it then encourage them to lie and do things in a clandestine fashion? Will this lead to then some kind of forgery, attempts to get into social media accounts or have social media accounts, have access to these social media accounts in a wrong way, fraudulently? That's the big question that's being asked by many people and by critics of this sweeping legislation that Australia has brought about. We asked parents and kids in India about what they think of ban on social media for children below the age of 16. Here's what they've had to say.
No, my kids don't have a social media account. And that is deliberate.
Even though he's 8.5, I'm happy that he watches television every Friday for an hour.
I try to involve them in a lot of free play, in a lot of outdoor activities. One of my kids, she is into painting and sculpting and working with the clay.
I do not have any social media account. My parents always said that it's my decision whether I wanted a social media account or not, but I focus on a lot of extracurriculars these days, so because of that I don't really have time to use social media.
I have an account. I also have a screen time limit on how much I can use, so I won't call myself an addict.
When I was younger, I used to feel left out when my friends used to post stories, but as I've grown up, I've realized that those stories might just fade away, but the fun I'm having is still there.
Growing up years, हमारे खुद के experiences that I have told my son in the form of a story. So all that became very interesting for him. And that was one of the reasons why it just became very easy कि phone के बारे में नहीं पूछना, laptop पे क्या चल रहा है, कोई cartoon देखनी है. That was never an issue.
I get 1.5 hours of social media every day.
Recently, we got to know that Australia has banned social media for kids below 16 years of age. I think it's a brilliant step.
It's recently been banned in Australia for kids under 16 which I believe is a very good measure, as the lack of social media frees up a lot of time for us to focus on other activities that we enjoy, such as reading, writing, or anything that one might prefer.
Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Health 360. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we did, putting it together for you. You can find these reports and much more on health, wellness and fitness up on our website, that's indiatoday.in. You can download the app as well, and also on all of India Today's social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, take very good care of yourself. Bye for now.